Welcome back. If you were watching Bitcoin futures this morning, you would have seen what was, even for crypto, quite a volatile morning, roller coaster ride, if you will. Saw Bitcoin surge over 30,000, unable to hold on to that level for long. For more on why we're seeing this kind of volatility in this space, Renita Young, senior markets correspondent for the Schwab Network, is here with us in studio. So, Renita, I got to be honest, this is not the first asset class that I have on my watch list that I'm watching, but even I saw Bitcoin on the move this morning. This thing was roaring higher.
Oh yeah, close to around 30,000, just like you said. And it was because rumors were swirling around Twitter that the SEC had approved BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, and the SEC says, or BlackRock says, that that is not true right now, despite those rumors that were swirling around. It was originally posted by Cointelegraph, and since then they did take the tweet down and apologize for the rumor and say that they're conducting an internal investigation. And to be sure, Bitcoin futures are still up by around 5% right now on the day. But analysts say the odds of a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved have actually increased because here's the real situation. The SEC did not appeal a court ruling saying that it failed to adequately justify its denial of the ETF conversion. So that's what maybe they took to say that they approved, but they did not appeal. That's the only thing. But they're conducting an internal investigation over at Cointelegraph.
So when looking at this name here, Renita, I mean, we have shares up obviously they're up 5.5%. I keep reading all these headlines that were like basically insinuating that we've given up all of that initial 10% pop because this hasn't been approved by the SEC yet. That's not necessarily the case. I mean, so what else are you watching that's also contributing to this 5.5% move higher today? I mean, you can't argue with the fact that we're still in a really nice day for Bitcoin.
We are in a really nice day. And on the whole, by the way, Bitcoin has just been pretty volatile anyway this year. But it is substantially higher than that intraday low that it etched in. However, today we learned that places like Ferrari are now accepting Bitcoin for payment for the vehicles. So, and if you remember, not too long ago, there were a lot of people saying they want their salaries in Bitcoin, right? You don't hear them saying that now, do you?
You don't. You do not.
I don't think I ever heard that. I mean, I know there were stories on it. I never heard a
like
real
NFL
person.
Players that were doing that.
Yeah,
mayors.
I don't know them, I guess. That's what I mean. But what I will say is Bitcoin to me has always been sort of inversely correlated, it seems, to market volatility. When things get quiet in the market, Bitcoin seems to become interesting. When things are moving in the market, I don't hear much about Bitcoin. And so recently the market itself has been moving, and so haven't heard a ton about Bitcoin. But, you know, kind of thing, the last thing I will say here, Renita, why is this seen, I guess, as a positive for Bitcoin? Like, why is, if this approval goes through, is it more of just the SEC sort of implicitly accepting Bitcoin as something that's here to stay?
I think that's part of it. Part of it becoming actual part of the economic ecosystem, a sustained part of it that is backed by the SEC, means that it could be here for a long time if that were to happen, right? But then you have this other side that's concerned that, oh, if you regulate deregulated finance, then what'll happen?
And I think that has always been what's so confusing to me is like the regulation that follows even a name like Coinbase. It's like, but the whole idea of this, to my understanding, was the enthusiasm behind a lack of regulation. But like everything, it always ends up getting regulated. So it's interesting. I do think an ETF will be a step in the right direction, but obviously we have to wait a little bit longer because it is not occurring today like we initially thought. We will leave it there. Renita Young, senior markets correspondent for the network.